This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Grant, welcome to the Friday edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. You've made it through the week, sir. You look relatively in one piece. How you feeling today?
I was wondering where you're going to go with that.
I wasn't sure either.
I don't feel like... I was like, are you going to say I look good? Because I don't feel like I look all that good. So I'm glad you changed it to all in one piece. Because
thank you.
That is
well,
true.
Usually right as I'm about to go on, I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? And I usually just black out, and it just comes out. So
you black out, you're like on the floor.
I
just
pretty
gone.
much, mentally, I'm on the floor blacked out because I don't know what to say. And I'm just like, you know what? Whatever comes out, as long as it's not vulgar or relatively not too offensive, then I should be fine. And that's just kind of how it worked out. But anyway, welcome to a Friday edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Grant and I are here. We're excited for another good show. Intern Laura is here as well, hanging out with us, and she'll be on later on in the show. We've got a fun show, Grant. A lot of different fun things to talk about, but before we get into that, where can the good people find us on social media?
They can find us on Facebook at the Bax and Grant Sports Show. They can also follow us on Twitter at BG Sports Show. You can also send us an email at bgsportshow@gmail.com. You can also Instagram us by hashtagging the Bax Grant Sports Show, and by doing so, the picture will actually show up on Sports Radio America website.
Yep, we've got all kinds of fun stuff. And remember, you can watch us now as well on thecube.com. So thanks to our friends down at thecube.com down in Chicago for producing the show for us. If you like watching us instead of listening to us, you can catch us that way. It's a lot more fun. You never know what you're going to see exactly. When it's just the audio portion, we can kind of hide. But
right
now, Grant and I actually have to try to.
But we have faces made for radio, so you should come on over. And
we really do. We really do. Speaking of faces made for radio, Zach Poppenfuss will be on the show a little bit later as well, so make sure to catch up with him. He's going to test Grant and I's sports IQ. We've got some fun questions to go back and forth with, so be on the lookout for that as well. And he's also going to talk about Aaron Hernandez and the AP situations as well. So Zach, a very opinionated man, but also a lot of fun to talk to just with sports in general. But Grant, you were a little upset this morning when you came in because your St. Louis Blues lost last night. But
yes,
we want to dive into just a kind of a quick update around the NHL playoffs. So what all happened in the first games of every game of the first round?
All right, so I'll just start at the top left of the bracket, which
Sounds
just
good.
so happens to be the St. Louis Blues.
Somehow it just happened that way.
You start reading at the top left, okay? That's just the natural place to spot.
Oh.
If it makes somebody
no
feel
wonder
better
I'm
than
failing my English classes. I read from right to left. And
fine, I'll go unbiased. I'll start at the bottom.
No, you're fine. Start with the Blues.
Okay.
That way you don't get confused.
Anyway, it kind of rhymed.
I was like, why is this funny?
It kind of rhymed.
Okay.
What? Anyway, the Blues lost their game last night to the Minnesota Wild, which I was never expecting the Blues to sweep the series. It's going to be extremely tough. It's going to be extremely tough for the Blues to even win the series, but I'm still a Wild fan as well, so it's kind of like bittersweet because yay, the Wild won, but darn, the Blues
at
lost.
What cost? Yeah.
Yeah, so the Blues did not have the best game. They got behind 2 goals pretty quick. The first goal was a wraparound. Interestingly enough, the Blues started Jake Allen over Elliott, which I am an Elliott fan over Jake Allen fan. I do not like Allen.
Sounds like a country singer.
He kind of does. And I always want to call him Jared Allen, but
different sport.
Yeah, totally different person. But Jake Allen, I would call him the number 2 goalie, even though that the Blues goalie, that's the biggest thing with the St. Louis Blues is that they need to work on is their goaltending because it's inconsistent, and they don't have a solid number 1 goaltender. But in my opinion, Elliott is a little bit better, but Jake Allen has done well against the Wild, so I can see that's why they started them. He actually did fairly well against the Blackhawks. He won the 2 games of the season that they had against them, almost getting shutouts in one of them. So, yeah, moving on. Oh, well, the Blues lost last night 4-2.
Yep.
The Wild actually scored 2 empty net goals, so that score is a little bit deceiving.
Okay.
So it was actually fairly close.
That's good to know. I didn't
game.
know that when I looked at the box score.
Yeah,
so
it was 2 empty net goals. Then the Nashville-Chicago game, which happened on Wednesday, was actually a very interesting game. That was a great game. Nashville Predators went up, I believe, in the first period, 3-0. Chicago came back to tie it and then went into double overtime and scored
double overtime
in
losses
Nashville.
Are never fun.
In Nashville. So it was a great game played by Chicago. Those are types of games that Chicago will win any day over Nashville. That was Nashville's game to lose, and they lost it.
And they did it well.
They lost it very well. So Chicago up 1-0 in the series. Anaheim took it to Winnipeg last night, 1-0. Also,
as you thought they would.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by that. The score is also 4-2.
Seems to be a theme right now.
Yeah, going and
makes for exciting hockey.
Yeah, I guess if you like watching games where nothing happens.
For me, if I'm a hockey fan, like in a very loose regards, I like seeing high scoring games.
Well, that's kind of high scoring though. It's like high scoring would be like 7-1.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying like where it's a 4-3 or a 5-4 game, like that for me is exciting because
you're a soccer player.
Exactly. Well, I know we're not used to having a lot of goals.
4-2 is above average.
Yes.
It would be like you're getting an A.
Okay.
It's above average, but it's not like, oh my gosh, you're a genius kind of thing. Anyway,
so next game.
Moving on, the Calgary Flames took it to the Vancouver Canucks.
Why did you really emphasize that? Like
that's
Calgary.
That's how it's said. Ask any hockey fan. It's the Calgary Flames.
I will have to ask hockey fans.
It's the Calgary.
I'll conduct a survey.
It's Gary. Calgary.
Calgary.
Anyway,
all right.
They beat Vancouver last Wednesday. Wednesday. They beat them Wednesday, taking the series lead 1-0. Then moving over to the Eastern Conference.
Represent the East. I have nothing to do with the East.
The Montreal Canadiens.
There you go. You got that one right. Good job.
They won on Wednesday, beating the Ottawa Senators 1-0. Not really surprised there in any way. I'm not expecting Ottawa really to pick up a game at all.
That wasn't the score. It was 4-3.
4-3?
You're looking at the series score.
I know. I'm not. I said they're up 1-0.
Oh, okay.
Did I say that they won?
You said that they won 1-0.
Oh, I apologize.
It says
no, it was the game was closer, but
yeah, it was 4-3. But they're up now. 1-0.
Yeah, they're up 1-0.
I was like, but I'm reading.
No,
okay,
they are up 1-0. I'm not expecting Ottawa to pick up a game.
No.
The surprising game, well, which isn't really a big surprise.
You have them going a lot farther than the other team, the next team that you're going to talk about here. You have the Lightning going farther than them.
Than the Detroit Red Wings? I know, but I'm not saying it's a big shock because I will not be surprised if the Red Wings win the series. So right now we're talking about the Red Wings Lightning game that happened last night. The Red Wings won 3-2, and they actually jumped out to a pretty early. No, it was actually tied pretty much for most of the game. Excuse me, it was tied most of the game. I was thinking of a different game.
It's all good. That's why we pay you the big bucks.
Yeah, right. So the Red Wings won 3-2. That moves them up in the series 1-0 over the Tampa Bay Lightning, and of course this series isn't over by any means.
No,
but I still think that the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to take the series. But I think
agree.
I would not be surprised if the Red Wings do win it because they are a very solid team. Moving on, the New York Rangers.
I was surprised by this game when I saw this final score.
2-1.
Yeah.
Well, what happened? Because I watched the game and I can tell you what happened.
Please.
It's the New York Rangers took an early lead, 2-0. It was like within the first minute, it was like 20-some seconds ticked off the clock and the Rangers scored.
Wow.
And then the second goal was a big fail by Marc-Andre Fleury. He did not, I don't know if he saw the puck or anything, but he wasn't really all that screened. It was a pretty savable puck.
I love that last name.
Fleury?
Fleury. Marc-Andre, yes.
Yeah, it's Marc-Andre Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury. What's his first name? Marc-Andre Fleury is his last name.
I don't know. From those French guys.
Call him Mick Fleury. Just say it. That's what I would call him. Like, what up, Mick?
People probably call him that.
I hope so.
People probably
I want to be friends
that.
with him just to call him McFlurry. He'd be
But
like, go away.
Speaking of him, even though he did let in that one goal, for the rest of the game, he was pretty much standing on his head throughout the rest of the game. The Penguins' defense, was less to be desired in this game.
Yes.
He made some pretty fantastic saves. And then Pittsburgh came back, scored in the second period, and then there was no more scoring throughout the rest of the game. The Penguins really fought back, though. They played a really good game. They had an awful first period, but their second period was great. The third period wasn't as great, but they fought back, did pretty well, didn't get the win, but if you're a Penguins fan, I wouldn't be too upset. They didn't get blown out. It was a pretty close game, so that's still not a series you can call at all. But Rangers take the series lead, and then the New York Islanders, which was actually a pretty big surprise to me. I would not expect them. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to sweep, so I wouldn't say a huge surprise, but I was expecting the Capitals to get this first game. But the New York Islanders take the 1-0 series lead. So now you are all caught up. And the games for tonight are Ottawa, Montreal, New York Islanders against the Washington Capitals, Chicago versus Nashville. And where's the other game? Oh, Vancouver Canucks and the Calgary Flames.
Ah, okay. So a lot of exciting. So the Blues have a day to rest or so.
Yes, they switch off.
Gotcha.
Days.
All right. Well, the NHL, always an exciting time in a very ever-changing scenario. Now, flipping over to the official playoffs for the 2014-2015 NBA season. All the seeds are locked in. We were waiting for all the 8 seeds. Brooklyn Nets captured the 8th seed, the last spot in the 8th for the Eastern Conference, and the New Orleans Pelicans. I love the Pelicans.
It's great.
This is professional sports. This isn't some D3 college team. We don't call a professional team the Pelicans. Are there even Pelicans in New Orleans?
I was going to ask that question.
I'm from Naples, Florida. We have Pelicans. So if it was like the Naples Pelicans, it'd be like, okay, that makes sense. But I would choose like the Sharks or something intimidating. You don't get intimidated to go play the Pelicans. Anyway.
The Clippers? What's a Clipper?
Yes. It was a ship, isn't it? Like a sailing vessel? Yeah, that's what it is. Like a dinghy.
Okay, so you're going to name a professional team after a ship?
Because you can blow things up with a ship. You can't blow things up with a pelican. Unless it's like a suicide pelican.
You could make a sci-fi movie on that.
Probably.
A robotic pelican.
That's how we should take out ISIS. Strap bombs to pelicans and fly them in and just... That's it. U.S. government, there you go. You're welcome.
Here you go. Defense plan.
Before we get...
robotic explosive pelican.
Perfect. They can go along with the flaming llamas and human sacrifices. We have a new army. Assemble! Anyway, so the Pelicans, Grant, get the last seed in the West. Get the last seed in the Western Conference. Oh, my gosh. So looking at the series as a whole, starting in the Eastern Conference, you've got Atlanta versus Brooklyn. Atlanta, a lot of people are questioning whether or not they really have the legs, as it were, to beat or to go deep in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Everyone's saying Atlanta's a regular season team. They're a regular season team. They're not going to be able to outlast the Clevelands, the Chicagos, the Bostons in the Eastern Conference. And I probably would agree with that because not many people that I know of are taking Atlanta to come out of the East to go to the NBA Finals. So in this regards, I do think they'll beat Brooklyn. I do think they'll make it out of the first round. I would not be surprised if they either sweep or maybe lose one game. But either way, Atlanta going out of the first round seems pretty realistic.
Well, if you look at the series in the regular season, they swept them 4-0. Mm-hmm. And even though some games were pretty close, there was other games that they kind of trounced them. So I don't think anybody would be surprised if the Hawks take this series.
Yeah, yep. Now moving on to the next series, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the 2 seed against the 7-seeded Boston Celtics. Cleveland, Charles Barkley came out this morning saying that in order for the Cleveland Cavaliers for them to win it all, LeBron James has to play great basketball. Well, obviously, you have to play great basketball at any point in the time to win the playoffs. But right. LeBron James, especially the focal point, arguably one of the best, if not the best, in the NBA right now. Steph Curry, yes, I know, but the most complete all-around player. It's hard to that's a debate for another time. But
that's another day.
I don't see Cleveland having an issue with Boston. Yes, they're on a bit of a hot streak right now for Boston in order to get into the playoffs. But Cleveland, I believe, wins that series and moves on. Chicago and Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's just happy enough as a whole to be in the playoffs. They're 41-41. Massive upgrade from last season after winning only 15 games.
So I think as really just Milwaukee fans of sports and be like, oh, the Bucks, we're not really expecting the Bucks to go very far, but we're like, you made it to the playoffs after only winning 15 games. You got a 500 record, a 41-41. I think that's all really people are expecting them to do.
I would assume so. And I was listening to ESPN Milwaukee yesterday with Homer and Gabe talking, and they were asking themselves and the audience that was listening, what would be a comparable number of wins in the playoffs to consider the season not a fluke, because it's realistic. They're probably not going to beat Chicago. And Gabe was saying that 2 wins. If Milwaukee can win 2 games in this series against Chicago, that would be semi-comparable, saying the fact that, you know what, yeah, we knew we weren't going to get out of the first round, but we came to the playoffs, we won more than one playoff game, so we can kind of have something to cheer about, but obviously we didn't win the series.
And I don't think I would be upset if they got swept. Well, I wouldn't be upset. I would just be like, kind of like, whatever. Yeah. But I wouldn't be like downtrodden and say that the season was a fluke or anything like that. Because it's hard to say the whole regular season was a fluke after going from the season you had last year to having a season you had this year.
I think so, yeah.
So I don't think it's a fluke. I think no matter if they get swept, if they win the series, if they win a couple games but drop the series, take it to Game 7, any scenario, I think you can still say, congratulations, Milwaukee Bucks. You had a great season. I don't think anybody was really expecting them to make it this far.
No.
I feel like they were really underpressed for the amount of success.
They still are.
For the amount of success that they had, they should be just being talked up right now. Because this is pretty much like if football people are listening and they really don't know what's going on in basketball, it would be like the Cleveland Browns this year.
Sure.
From going from nothing to, even though they
went
7-9, even though they didn't make the playoffs, but let's say they went 8-8 or 9-7 and made it to the playoffs after having a season of years of just bad football.
I think maybe a better example would be like if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who finished 2-14 this last year, break 500 or make it to the wild card and lose the first game.
Right.
Like that's kind of like the flip flop in that regards. But I definitely get that as a whole for Bucks fans. Looking at the last game or series in the East, Toronto versus Washington. We're both kind of feeling we're split on this one. I like Washington. You like Toronto. Toronto won the series 3-0 in the regular season. So that one is kind of a toss-up. Looking at the Western Conference Series, Golden State against New Orleans, I don't believe the unibrow of Anthony Davis is going to be enough to power the Pelicans past Steph Curry and everybody else out there in Golden State. Golden State should just easily scoot by. They only lost 15 games this season.
15 games.
Only lost 15 games.
One of those games, though, was to the Pelicans.
Yeah,
but you got to win 4.
I'm not worried.
But you got to win 4.
Exactly. Houston taking on Dallas. That's a huge series. I think people are going to definitely want to cling to that series and watch. It's in Texas, so you've already got that rivalry. Houston-Dallas. I would not be shocked, Grant, if Dallas finds a way to win that series.
I wouldn't either. They're a solid team.
Is.
Yeah, because they played. Who did they play? They played a LeBron team. They played either the Cavaliers or the Heat.
In the finals?
Yeah,
that was the Heat.
Was it the Heat? And I feel like nobody was really giving them the time of day, but they just muscled their way to the championship. And I feel like they're kind of, I don't know, they feel mavericky almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the basketball they play.
Yep, exactly. And then looking at the last 2 series, L.A. Clippers. Not the Lakers. The Clippers are in San Antonio. San Antonio is going to win that series. San Antonio, they're a 6th seed, but that's just that they're
with the Western Conference. That's kind of just how it lined up.
Like,
because
they won 55 games.
LA is 56-26 with the 3 seed. San Antonio is 55-27, a game difference, and they have the 6th seed.
Yep.
So you really can't go by seeding. I would definitely take the Spurs.
Yeah,
really over anybody.
I like the Spurs going very, very deep in the West. I think it'll be Spurs, Golden State in the Western Conference, and then you have Portland and Memphis. This series is kind of a toss-up for me, in all honesty. It really doesn't matter to me who wins it. I think they're going to lose their next game regardless of whoever they play.
I like Portland. I'm like a kind of closet, loose Portland Trailblazers fan.
Interesting.
Yeah, just because I know some people that like them. So I'm
just
like,
that's all that matters.
Okay. Yeah, but I'd be okay if they won, and if they didn't, I would not lose any sleep over it.
Fair enough. Okay. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We chatted about the NHL and the NBA, but when we come back, Connor Christensen's in studio. We're going to play Start 'em, Sit 'em, Cut 'em. And we also have his health tip as well, followed by Grant's rant. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Okay, Grant, we chatted about the NHL and the NBA in our first segments. The playoffs. The playoffs.
The
playoffs. We are talking about the playoffs, Grant.
Talking about the playoffs?
We actually are. Not talking about practice. Talking about the playoffs.
The playoffs.
Exactly. But anyway, we are very excited now as it is Friday, which means we get to bring in Connor Christensen, which is always a good time. We got his pump-up theme music, as it always is. So, Connor, welcome to the studio, sir. How you doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, not too bad. Well, Connor, as you know from the last Friday that you're here, we played a new game with you called Stardom, Sit 'em, Cut 'em. Figured it's always a fun time to play with you.
And I just want to say, if you have not heard the show on Monday, Connor was on for his Fight Corner, and we talked about a really interesting subject. If you haven't heard that show, I'd go give it a listen, at least to that segment, because I really enjoyed that segment. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yep, it's the Bax and Grant Sports Show, number 51, so go back and check that out. It was a lot of fun to talk about involving steroids and doping and all that in sports, so go check it out. We won't give
Good
too much of it
conversation.
away. All right, guys, Start 'em, Sit 'em, Cut 'em. Your first grouping is running backs. None of them are in the league anymore, but they were all very accomplished while they were in the league. The first grouping is Brian Westbrook, Curtis Martin, and LaDainian Tomlinson. Grant, we'll start with you.
All right, so I did my research. I have my
gosh.
stats.
Nerd.
I'm not going to say any of them, but I'm pointing out the fact
Please.
that I am well researced and ready to go.
So proud. So proud.
But I'm not going to stat drop, but I
Okay.
probably should.
Anyway,
but-
so who are you picking?
Well, I'm going to start with sitting, actually.
Please.
I'm going to sit Brian Westbrook.
Okay.
Because I did not like the way he ended his career, even
Yeah.
though LaDainian Tomlinson did not have the best ending to his career. But I'm going to sit Brian Westbrook. Cut Brian Westbrook. Completely. Cut
Okay.
Brian Westbrook.
He's gone.
Sit LaDainian Tomlinson. That's what I meant to say. Cut Westbrook. Sit Tomlinson. Play Curtis Martin.
Really?
Because Curtis Martin is number 4 on the all-time rushing yards list. He was
Okay.
pretty
I
consistent
guess
throughout
that's- I
his
guess
entire
that's the thing.
career. He almost was the second player to have, and now I'm stat dropping when I said I won it. He is
Get him out. Security.
because of a knee injury. He was almost the second player to have over 1,000 yards 10 seasons straight.
Jeez.
He was 1 season short because of a knee injury.
You don't hear Adrian
I
Peterson
believe.
doing stuff like that.
Yeah, he almost broke the. He was 7 yards short of the
Yeah,
all-time
all-time
season
rushing. Yeah,
rushing.
Not
single.
even 7 yards.
I thought it was 7.
It was I could have sworn it
was
was.
four. It was
no,
4.
Yeah.
Either way.
No, I'm pretty sure. It was
Okay,
7.
so Connor,
No,
who are you
it's
starting, sitting, and cutting?
All right. I am actually. See, this is why I should just be going first all the time because I'm not going to be original. I am
It's okay
cutting
if you agree.
Brian Westbrook. I'm starting Curtis Martin, and I'm sitting LT.
Okay.
That's just. I mean, LT is fantastic. I could see doing, switching down.
That would be fun. Yeah, Chip Kelly, that's the new Legion of Zoom.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
that
because
Legion
wasn't
of Zoom, yeah.
LaDainian Tomlinson part of that Lightning Thunder? Because
Yeah,
didn't
it
he
was
have
him
a
and
number
Darren
2?
Sproles.
Right.
Yeah, the new Legion of Zoom guy was Darian Sproles back in the day.
Yeah, they
for
had
LT.
they were Lightning and Thunder way back in the day.
Ooh, fierce. All right, I am going to go against the grain because that's just how I am as a person.
That is true.
I'm starting Brian Westbrook because I love the option of a dual threat running back. Yeah, he's not a straight run at you kind of running back, but he's a valid option outside the backfield, very much like a Darian Sproles. I love that aspect of the running back. I'm going to sit Curtis Martin and I'm going to cut LT. That's
All right,
yeah.
that's fair. That's
Okay.
fair.
No, that's-
Yep.
That's fair.
All right. The second grouping is wide receivers. They weren't necessarily well known. They were very well known.
They were very
well
well
known off the field, but on the field they also were very talented wide receivers.
Yes.
And those 3 gentlemen are Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson, and Randy Moss. Connor, we'll let you start this time.
All right. I'm gonna have to go with my home team. I'm going to start Randy Moss.
Shocker.
Not shocker.
Shocker.
I'm going to sit Chad Johnson, and I'm going to cut T.O. mainly
Really?
because I don't like T.O.
Well, don't like you.
I
That's
would
like-
never get along with him in the locker. Not that I'd get along with any of these people in the locker room,
Right.
but I no.
Okay.
Well, for me, honestly, I would rather not have to start any of them because Baxter and I, we're
Oh my gosh.
we're Green Bay fans, and
Yes.
Green Bay.
I still
is,
respect talent, though.
yeah, but Green Bay is known more for just keeping, like, rounding the wagons and making sure everybody's okay. And
Yes.
you've never really hear of
Randy
some
Moss almost
strong-headed-
came to Green Bay.
I'm
back
glad
in
he
the day.
didn't.
Almost.
I'm glad he didn't. But you never really hear of a strong-headed Green Bay player. So this is why it's kind of a struggle for me to pick. But
Struggle's real.
anyway, I am going to cut Randy Moss completely.
Oh,
Sorry, Connor.
hurts me.
Cutting Randy. No, excuse me. Sitting Randy Moss.
Oh,
I cannot get this. I cannot get this right today. I cannot get this right today.
Grant, come on.
Sitting Randy Moss.
Sure.
Sitting Randy Moss.
Okay.
Cutting Chad Johnson.
Okay.
And starting Terrell Owens.
Interesting.
Sorry, I can't get the sitting
Good
and the
Lord.
cutting thing today.
Like, what are we doing? I'm cutting them all. That's not the game, Grant. Gosh.
I'm emotional roller coaster over here
I
today.
can tell. The Blues lost. Grant just
I'm
is
just
gone.
in a tirade.
I'm going to start Randy Moss. I'm
yeah.
going to sit T.O. and I'm going to cut Chad Johnson. I like T.O. better than Chad Johnson. I mean, Chad Johnson's got the sweet little like touchdown dances, but I like T.O.
Right.
as a wide receiver better. He's gotten to play with some of the greats. He played with Steve Young. He was a fantastic young wide receiver. I mean, yeah, he danced on the star in Dallas. Yeah, well, get over it, Dallas Cowboy fans. You're not that great. Anyway,
Shots fired.
That's just kind of how it is. But yeah, I like T.O. over Chad Johnson.
Chad
So.
Johnson, the guy who did the flip into the end zone?
No, that
No.
was some no-name Bengals wide receiver.
Right.
I don't remember exactly. I'm sure Zach knows who it is.
Probably.
But
And wasn't he Chad Ochocinco too?
he
changed
was.
his name
He
to-
was
okay.
legal. Okay, and the fact that he doesn't even know. I was wondering, like, do I put Chad Johnson or do I put Chad
Right.
Ochocinco?
Did he
or-
change it back?
It is. He's back
Okay,
to Chad
because
Johnson
that's what I
again.
thought. I thought he changed it back.
Yep. All right, so now with it being Friday, it's time for Connor's health tip. So with a minute on the clock, sir, please spread some knowledge on us.
All right, last week I talked about when to take your protein. Today I'm going to talk about other kind of supplementations, what are okay, what isn't okay. So going off of something a fitness tip I had a long time ago about staying educated. There is a great source of knowledge called PubMed. You can Google it; it'll take you there. You type in a supplement that you're looking at, and then if there has any research been done on it, it will be there, and it will tell you everything you need to know about it. I don't like supplements personally. Because they're not regulated by the FDA, they don't have to say what's in them. They could put cocaine in them, and they wouldn't have to tell you. And see, that's
kinda scary.
That scares me personally. So my advice: talk to someone who knows more. Look it up, research it. The only supplement that I know for sure that works is creatine, and so far there has not been any negative side effects shown in serious research. So
Time's up.
Creatine's the way to go. No other supplements.
Interesting. I honestly thought supplements were approved by the FDA.
Nope.
Wow.
Don't have to.
Interesting.
Even like a vitamin supplement, like this is vitamin C. It could actually be sugar water and
Vitamin
you know,
C and
like,
cocaine. That's
I'm
what
not
gets me
saying,
going in
I'm
the
not
morning.
saying that most companies will do that. Like
Sure.
But it's
obviously,
possible.
if it's vitamin C supplement, I don't know why they would do anything other than a vitamin C supplement. At the same time, they don't have to say what's in it.
Wow.
They don't have
Interesting.
to. That's
I
why
did not know that.
Yeah, that's why when you look at like different post pre-workouts, they'll have I mean a lot of times they'll say, oh, it has this in it or whatever, but it doesn't actually list like how much is in it or different other things like that. So be careful with those, and it should say on the bottle that it's not FDA approved.
Interesting.
It should say that on
Okay,
it.
I'm going to have to keep an eye out for
Never
that now.
knew that.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
you
be
learn
ca-
something.
be
The more you
careful.
know, Grant.
Be
The more
careful
you
with
know.
that. Knowledge is power, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Schoolhouse
No.
Rock.
Knowing is
Woo!
half the battle. That's
Exactly.
G.I. Joe, but
Oh,
it's
wow.
G.I.
Knowledge is
Joe.
power is.
Yeah, knowledge is
Schoolhouse Rock.
power. Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
I was talking
Schoolhouse
knowing is half the
Rocky.
battle is a G.I. Joe.
Okay.
thing. Like,
Okay.
like the old G.I. Joe.
Oh.
Like,
Way
Got
back
it.
in the
original.
day.
Yeah.
Way back
Before-
in the day.
Before us, pre-us.
Oh, pretty sad day.
Dang.
All right, well, Connor, thank you so much for stopping by. Where can the good people find you on Twitter?
They can find me on Twitter at ConnorDC126.
That is correct, sir. Well done.
Always have to think about it. Like, wait, what's my Twitter
Oh,
account?
you know you don't tweet a lot when you don't know
Hey,
your own
hey,
Twitter. That's
I
why I
tw-
made it
I
simple.
tweeted-
My name, my Twitter is my name.
So is
Baxter
mine.
Colburn. No, like
Well,
that's
you
it.
just changed it,
It's
though.
It's at Baxter
You did-
Colburn. It's
you
not
did-
Backstar 20 or Big Sexy 33 or what. That's not what it is. That's not it. That's not
That's a good thing. because-
That's Zach's Twitter. No. Exactly. All right, well, Connor, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks
Have
for
a great
having me.
weekend. We'll see you on Monday, sir.
Yes, sir. See you later.
Sounds good.
Big Sexy 23, Robot Pelicans, nuking ISIS.
Anthony Davis's unibrow.
We're just
Something.
all over the place today.
We should come up with interesting Twitter handles. But anyway, Grant, time for your answer. All right, you've got a fun topic to talk about for us today. As a fan of many sports, you are going back to America's pastime for your rant today, aren't you?
Right, and it's positive, actually. Another positive one.
Gosh, I don't like you when you're positive.
It's a fun one, though.
I know, I'm kidding. All right, 30 seconds on the clock. On your mark, get set, and go.
And a AAA game between the Columbus Clippers, and the Indianapolis Indians, there was a base hit by an Indianapolis Indians player, and the Clippers first baseman did one of the most classic baseball moves by catching the ball when the runner was not looking. When he started to lead off on the base, tagged him, got the out. The announcer had no idea what was going on, which was probably the funniest part. And it was just a great little clip to watch.
Time's up.
It's on ESPN. If you want to watch it, it's really funny. For 5 minutes after the play, the announcer's like, "What's going on? I have no idea. Why is he out?" And then they show the replay, and he's like, "Oh, the old hidden ball trick."
Hidden ball trick. Got him with the hidden ball trick. I love it. The Indianapolis Indians. I would hate that if a commentator.
Right.
The Indianapolis
That
Indians.
took me a little bit to spit out there.
Ugh.
Yeah, Blue Gal.
The Indians. All right, well, we're going to take a fast break. Zach Poppenfuss is in studio. He's going to join us next segment, talking about Aaron Hernandez and Adrian Peterson. Then he's going to test his sports IQ alongside Grant. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Okay, Grant, we had a lot of fun in the second segment as we had Connor Christensen on, chatting about Stardom, Sit 'em, Cut 'em.
Good stuff.
It was. And then he
good.
had his
I like
health
that
tip.
game.
There might be cocaine and vitamin C, Grant. Or
You never know. It's a possibility.
Yeah, supplements, keep an eye out for them. There's no FDA-approved label on them.
I was just thinking they could put nicotine in them to get you
The more you
addicted,
know.
and they wouldn't have to tell you.
That's why. Maybe that's why I've never gotten into the substance. But anyway, Grant, there's a tall, dark,
substance?
and handsome man standing behind us. That
Now,
would be
who is
Zach
that?
Poppenfuss. How you doing, Zach?
great,
Welcome.
great.
Doing well.
Good.
How are
Welcome.
you guys today?
Not too bad, man. We're glad to have you back on the show. You joined us for a few shows when we were in Florida, so we appreciate you joining us and keeping us sane while we were down there.
I miss Florida.
I
I'm
do
just
too.
gonna point out.
It seems like it was so long ago.
I
mean,
like having like a complete tan, because normally up in Wisconsin I just have like my arms are tan, but where my t-shirt is, it's like super white. But now I'm like my whole torso, it's just tan, and I miss Florida.
One even color.
One even color. I
not
love
like
it.
7. You know?
Not like an awkward farmer's tan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look like Neapolitan ice cream.
Ooh, there you go. Exactly. That's a good way to think of it. I've got the Neapolitan tan going on. Anyways, Zach, we've asked you here today to chat a little bit about the Aaron Hernandez and Adrian Peterson verdicts, hot topics in the NFL right now. Adrian Peterson, obviously, as we know, will be reinstated, is officially reinstated now by the NFL. Rumors of whether or not he'll stay in Minnesota is still swirling like crazy.
He has like 3 years on his contract.
He does, yes, but at the same time, from a perspective of an organization, if a player is saying publicly, I don't want to play for you, do you keep him? Do you make him play? What do you do with him?
Right.
Okay, so I've thought about this a little bit because it wouldn't be terrible if he went out of the black and blue division. I wouldn't
Yeah,
mind
no,
that.
I would be fine with that if he leaves the NFC North. We'll be like, yeah, it's fine.
All right. Because I'd really love it if he went to an AFC team, and the only time we had to ever play him again would be, like the Super Bowl.
Or maybe once a
one
year
game
instead
that
of
doesn't
twice.
matter.
Yeah.
So, thinking about that from a Packers perspective, that's my opinion there. But as a player, you get paid to play, and not to hang out with your buddies, not to and you come at this, if you think about it, like an average Joe. You wouldn't want to be looked down upon by your coworkers, by your boss, and so it really depends how that locker room dynamic is there, and if he's returned to the level of respect that he was at before. And I don't think he'll ever reach that level with the people in his organization. So I think it's going to be very difficult for him to want to stay. But given that, I feel like he still would be a great asset to the team. And it may be in their best interest to hold on to him for a year before they trade him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they've got a team that around him could make him look good enough to get a lot more in a trade than someone who's unproven, sitting for the last year and a half now, or
Yeah, well, he's been sitting for a little under a year.
Little under a year?
He
Okay.
missed 15 of the 16 regular season games last year. There are rumors, and people have been saying it was a great idea for the NFL to reinstate him before the NFL draft, because
Right.
now the Minnesota Vikings arguably have the biggest bargaining chip in the draft.
Right.
True.
So if Minnesota wants to move up and say, hey, we want some first round draft picks, who's to stop them from doing that and saying, hey, Cleveland, you've got 2 first-round draft picks? Hey, we've got Adrian Peterson. You don't have a running game. Maybe. You never know. You never know. I mean, whether or not that's what happens, but it's still possible.
Johnny and
Johnny and AP. Oh, that would be fun.
And I just want to say, because we've seen players in the past who have come out and said, we don't want to play for our team, and then the teams say, well, we still have you under
Bummer.
contract. You're going to play for us, and they don't do that well. I'm forgetting the player who it was, but it was this last season who he didn't play many games. He said that he had headaches, and he was...
Percy Harvin?
Percy
yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Oh, was it 2 years?
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't want to play, and he basically just quit mentally and didn't show up. Now, I don't think Adrian Peterson is that type of player, because I can see, yes, I don't agree with him saying he should leave the Vikings,
Yes.
but I'm seeing where he's coming from, and I can see why he would want to leave. I'm not saying it's a wise idea to make that public, but I can see that. And I think he's got a solid enough head on his shoulders that he wouldn't quit on his team, because he was saying throughout the whole season, and this might have just been a ploy to get reinstated, but he was saying he really missed playing for his team, and he thought he could make them really better. And he was saying that Bridgewater and him would be a 1-2 punch, and they could get somewhere in the league. So I still think that's a very solid option for the Vikings, but depending on how he is mentally, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's something that will be yet to be seen. And with the draft is 2 weeks away, we'll see if an Adrian Peterson trade somewhere might end up popping up. Now, the other big topic in the sports world right now is Aaron Hernandez. He's officially been found guilty. He is found guilty of first-degree murder. It's good that the justice system finally got something right. A lot of people are saying that the final testimony by Robert Kraft, the Patriots owner, was enough to really the last nail in the coffin, as it were, for Aaron Hernandez. He will now be going away for life in prison without any chance of parole. People are surprised. Some people are upset. I'm not really sure why. It's obvious. There's video footage of him leaving the scene of the crime and then getting out at his house with an obvious gun in his hand. And it's like, really? We're not going to... I mean, either way, I'm not a huge CSI, justice system person, so I can't dissect it like that. But I'm assuming you guys both agree that the jury got this right?
I do not know much of the case, like the details of the case, to make an opinion. I know that some people think it's obvious, but I don't have enough. I don't know enough information to make an opinion. I do, however, would say that from what people have said, it sounds like it was pretty obvious. So, and he hasn't been in the league for a while, and this has been going on for a while. And if a trial has been going on for this long, they make sure they get all their ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And to convict somebody, you need to have a unanimous jury. So, with that being said, I don't see how there's really all that much room for upsetness, even though I know, yes, there are innocent people in prison nowadays.
Yep.
But with how much press that NFL players get and how hard, in my opinion, it is for them to get in jail, professional players at any rate, like celebrities like that, it's really hard for them to get convicted with something major. So they must have a lot of substantial evidence on him.
Yep, I completely agree. Zach, your thought about it?
I feel like when I first heard it come out and they were talking about their preliminary facts and stuff that they could release, stuff that they weren't necessarily going to push too hard in trial, I felt like it was as obvious as Plexico Burress.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy had a gun and it went off and now someone's dead. I mean, it's the same as you putting a hole in your leg.
Yeah.
But as more facts started leaking out, it really made you question, and his defense did a decent job of making you think, like, oh, why would he have done this?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you have to remember that it's the same as someone who's, just fighting a battle, and that's what football is. You're
exactly.
in the trenches with guys, you're going all out, and you really have to separate that game from your daily life.
Right.
And there are players who can and players who can't. I don't know whether I could say that this is just an instance in which he couldn't separate it from his daily life, but I think it's unfortunate that the events that happened, and he will be moving to Boston or Massachusetts' newest prison, and so originally I think they'll probably have him on solitary,
yep.
And so the Aaron Hernandez we see, still smiling or kind of just chilling in the courtroom, I think after a couple of months in solitary, when he comes back for his appeal, he'll be a much different person.
I would agree with that.
I think the appeal process will be something that's much more somber. I feel like people, the headline was, it's not real. Now the jury verdicts can come out.
Right.
It's real.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Are they officially doing an appeal?
I don't see why they wouldn't. If you get life, you
usually want to try to appeal life.
If you don't appeal, then I think you lose your ability to get parole in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to at least appeal in order to have his sentence reduced.
I thought it was chance with no chance of parole. Though.
There's no chance of parole, but if you do the appeal, then you have a chance to at least get back that possible parole. And so if you can appeal the verdict and be like, look, can we knock it down to a year total, or can we try to get parole? Or that's the one thing with the legal system. It's very hard to figure out. But so a lot of stuff happening in the NFL right now. We appreciate your insights on that, Zach. We do want to test both of your sports IQs very quickly before we bring in intern Laura. So I have 4 questions for each of you, and we will see who is the smarter of the two. All right, they're both multiple choice. You guys can answer at the same time. We'll and then we'll see. Well, I'll ask Grant. He'll think of his answer. I'll ask you. You think of your answer, and then we'll go from there because it's all multiple choice. All right. So, who is the NBA's all-time assist leader? A. Magic Johnson. B. John Stockton. C. Scott Skiles. Or D. Oscar Robinson. Grant?
I'm gonna say Scott Skiles.
That is incorrect.
Good, because I was going to pick that. No. I feel like it was Robinson.
It was not. It was John Stockton.
Oh.
John Stockton back in the
I
day.
knew it wasn't Magic Johnson, though. I wasn't going to go for the obvious.
Are you playing along with
No,
us, intern Laura?
I'll pass
you
to
get that one
7.
wrong, too? Laura got it wrong, too. All right. Which team has had the most interceptions since 2000? This is college football.
Okay.
Texas, Florida, TCU, or Virginia Tech? Which team has had the most interceptions?
Can you say the options one more time?
A, Texas, B, Florida, C, TCU, or D, Virginia Tech? I got this one wrong when I played this last time.
Zach should go first because he got my
Oh,
scraps the
yeah,
last
I'm
time.
sorry. Zach, you should go first.
I think it's Florida.
I'll go with TCU.
Intern Laura? You're all wrong. She said Florida. It was Virginia Tech. I said Florida last night as well. I got it wrong.
Virginia Tech was my number 2 guess.
Yeah. All right. Now, Grant, you might have a possibility here. All right. Which team lost the only first-round sweep of last year's playoffs and in the NHL? Philadelphia Flyers, Colorado Avalanche, Vancouver Canucks, or the Tampa Bay Lightning? I will start with intern Laura since she is playing now as well. She says the Canucks.
With a K, that hurt me. She spelt the Canucks with a K. I'm just about going to cry.
Grant, who's your pick?
Canucks,
What
Yeah.
what are the options?
Oh my
one more
gosh.
time?
The Flyers, the Avalanche, the Canucks with a C, and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I think it was the Canucks.
With a C or with a K?
With the C.
Oh, with a C. And Zach?
I think it's the Avalanche.
You're correct.
Was it the Avalanche?
Oh, no,
Wi-
I'm sorry.
I was gonna
No, I'm
say-
looking at the wrong thing. It was the Lightning.
Oh,
Tampa Bay
'cause
Lightning.
I was going to say the
No.
Wild did not sweep them because they beat them.
Tampa Bay Lightning was the correct answer.
So I was
I'm
going to
sorry.
say I think the Avalanche and the Wild went to Game 7.
All right, last question for you all. Since the year 2000, how many quarterbacks have won the Heisman Trophy? Since 2000, how many quarterbacks have won the Heisman Trophy?
This is
5.
2015.
Yes, this is as of a few
As
days
of
ago.
Okay.
5, 7, 10, or 13? 5, 7, 10, or 13. How many quarterbacks have won the Heisman Trophy since 2000?
I'm going to go with 10.
Yeah, you gotta say 10.
No, you're all wrong. Everybody said 10. It was 13.
13.
13.
Okay.
I knew it was something
It's
of that.
10 or 13.
I knew it was a higher number, but either way. So, Zach, thank you so much for stopping by.
So we all lose.
We all lose.
Did anybody get a question right?
Nope.
No.
100%
Wow.
zeros. Our sports IQ is 0.
It's literally 0. It's okay. Well, we'll work on it.
Those were tough.
They were tough questions.
Those
I'm
were
sorry.
tough.
All
They
right,
were hard.
Zach, thank you so much for stopping by. Always a
good to be
pleasure,
here.
sir, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the future, sir. All right, Grant, it's Friday, which means we're having a good time, which means intern Laura is here.
Yay.
Hi.
I didn't know those two things were synonymous.
Having a good time with intern Laura?
Yeah.
Usually.
Burn.
I mean, it's always a good time when intern Laura's in the studio.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See, I at least appreciate you.
He does.
Grant's just a meanie head.
I walked
You're
in
the
this
one that makes
morning,
fun of her all the time.
And I like put my arms around you guys, and I said, "I appreciate you." And now
Grant's
Grant
leaving.
is just
Apparently, we're just gonna do the show together now. Grant's gone. We don't need him anymore.
Good.
All right, Laura, it's time for your thingamabopper. What do you have for us
All
today?
right, so I'm going to tell you about a streaker. We all love streakers, right?
Yes.
In the sports world. No, I find them very entertaining, but you don't really see them
course
on
you
TV.
You went from a heartwarming ESPN story
I
and went
did.
into a streaker.
This one's really cool. Trust me.
Sure.
All right.
Is it heartwarming?
Is it
No.
heartwarming?
No. Okay, so his name is Jimmy Jump, and he is
Jump?
Spanish. Jimmy Jump.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
It's not his real name. It's not his real name.
Okay.
But he is Spanish, and I did my research, and he has done over 21 streaks.
Somebody really should, keep
But the
an eye on
thing,
him.
exactly. But the thing is, he doesn't streak naked or anything like that. He wears a shirt that says "Jimmy Jump Against Racism," and he'll like do it for this. And I think that's really cool. And he has done a lot of events, not just sports. He's done soccer. He's done interrupted 13 different soccer matches, including
Wow.
ones with FC Barcelona and
Yeah.
Real Madrid.
Barca.
He's done Formula One, basketball, rugby, water polo.
Wait.
Yeah.
How do you streak in Formula
You
1?
run onto the track and
was-
almost get killed.
It was the victory lap that he just ran out there, and I was like, ooh.
I've seen there's
That's
a
like
really
real life.
popular one that these guys are flying around the corner. And there's this guy just booking it down, and and it's kind of near the corner, so it's like they don't have much time to react. I'm like, this guy's crazy,
Yeah.
and then a pit guy just tears him off the track and tackles him to the ground. I would have been like, yeah, so you're trying to make a point, but really running onto a track.
Oh my gosh! Sorry,
guys are going,
continue.
like, 200 miles
I was
an
so
hour.
shocked by that. I was like, wait, did I
of
hear you
course.
right?
He just
Okay.
does these ridiculous things. Like he interrupted water polo, just jumped in the pool just because he could, but did tennis.
Cannonball!
In the middle of a tennis match, he tried to put a red beret on a player. Just he interrupted the Eurovision Song Contest. He invaded a performance and started dancing up there on stage with them, and then someone kind of grabbed him and pulled him off.
Wait, did I see for the tennis? He tried to put the red beret on Roger Federer.
Federer.
Yeah.
Oh,
One of
that's
the best
hilarious.
tennis
Yeah,
players
there's-
in the world.
Ooh, sorry, I didn't know that. He interrupted the Goya Award for right when they were about to announce Best Actor. He jumped up there, the weather forecast even. He was just went on the news show and just started yelling, Barcelona, Barcelona.
This
and
guy's
then he,
this guy's a
guy
pro. He's a pro.
Or you need to follow him
he's
on
the
Twitter.
best. Then he put his hat on the forecaster and he's just like, Barca. He's like yelling.
Leave it
and
to the Spanish.
this guy
I
is the
love it.
best. And he, of course, he's paid his time in prison and in fines for all of this. But it's
Whatever
got
he
to be
does for a
worth it.
living.
It's fantastic.
That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
How
Yeah.
do they let him back into these venues? Honestly,
I don't think that they do. I just think he sneakily gets around it.
Sneakily,
It's,
yeah, he's like the Pink Panther.
I
dude.
admire him. I can imagine. And also, today is National Haiku Poetry Day.
Oh, do you have a haiku for us?
I do.
Oh, I was
wrote
hoping
you
you
one.
would. I figured you wouldn't say it if you didn't have one.
No,
but-
I wrote it in like 15 seconds.
Beautiful.
But I heard that haikus are supposed to have to do with nature, so I had to incorporate that in a little bit. So it's not very good.
Intern Laura's haiku. All right, what do
Okay.
we got?
Bax and Grant Sports Show. As lovely as a flower. You guys are the best.
Aw, so great.
That's beautiful. We need to put that on a
Thank you.
shirt.
Yeah.
We'll put that on the like a stencil around the studio or something.
Yes, pretty like pink like flower wallpaper.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm feeling
Or we should
it.
like do that right by like where you sit. You know,
Yes.
be like, oh,
My little area.
Build a shrine and have
shrine.
that haiku just right there.
that's I don't see
With
why
candles, make a visual.
not. We didn't die. Gosh, it's just a haiku for gosh sake. Wow, so morbid. Anyway, well, this has been another exciting edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Intern Laura, always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
You have any
again.
fun plans for the weekend, Laura?
I don't remember actually.
Remember.
I'm really bad under pressure when people ask me things like that.
What's your name?
Give me a minute. Oh yeah, it's my grandma's birthday party.
Oh, Grandma!
Happy birthday,
Happy
Grandma.
birthday, Grandma! Is it Grandma Weiland?
Grandma Irene.
Grandma Irene.
My mom's
Mom's
mother.
mama. All right.
Yeah,
You should sing that for her.
I will, but it's Eileen.
Oh,
not Irene.
Oh, I thought I heard
change it
Irene.
just for her.
I
Either
will.
way. Well, thank
an
you so
L.
much. Where can the good people of Twitter find you?
You can find me on Twitter at intern Laura BGSS.
Does anybody tweet from their accounts anymore? This is ridiculous. I'm just gonna write them on the wall. Be like, "That's your Twitter." Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by, Laura.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you and all that you do. Thank you for
thank
your,
you
your
for having
haiku.
me.
And we will see you again next week.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you. You too. All right, Grant. Closing thoughts before we ship out of here for the weekend on our Clipper. or our exploding pelican, one of the two.
Our Clipper. Oh, it was good.
Thank
That
you.
was a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. No, it was a great show. It was pretty fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Glad it's the weekend though, even though I'm working all weekend.
Woo!
But I mean,
Gotta make that money.
gotta make that money.
Money. Anyway, all right. Well, Grant, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to do the show with you. For intern Laura, Zach Poffenfuss, and Connor Christensen, he's Grant Coppersmith. I'm Baxter Colburn. We'll see you all again on Monday. Enjoy your weekend, folks. Until then.